pretty much everybody who covers the 49ers is refuting the report you read last hour that the Niners are not talking to Deshaun Watson. They don't have the draft capital. And they also, this just in. They like Trey Lance. You just don't believe it. You don't believe it.
Me or just a collective we?
You in particular don't believe it.
I don't think that they think that or they know if he's any good.
Well, they don't yet because you haven't seen him except for a couple of cups of coffee because Jimmy G couldn't answer the bell. He did throw the first touchdown pass of the season for the 49ers.
It was a 1-yard throw.
And then clearly it was Jimmy G's team. And they were wise to do that because they had the opportunity to do that. That's why rookie quarterbacks, it's so rare to see what Roethlisberger did back in his day, and see somebody who comes in to the NFL and crushes it and has the opportunity to crush it because the team is ready for it. So they would not have made the NFC Championship game most likely with Trey Lance as their quarterback taking his lumps.
That's the thing is they're in a situation where it appears that they are a quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl, and they're going to replace a guy with a guy who's not as good as the guy they're replacing him with. So it's
well, it's as simple as this in my estimation, okay? Because the situation is, I don't want to say similar, back here on the Rich Eisen Show talking about, to our terrestrial radio audience now, about the Niners rumor that was put out on Twitter that they're talking to Deshaun Watson has been refuted by everybody who covers the team. And the crazy notion that they just may like Trey Lance. That the similar, I shouldn't say similar because they didn't make the NFC Championship game, but Alex Smith was there. Okay, and the first year Mahomes got some run in week 17 in Denver and got his beak wet and looked good doing it, and then it was his gig the next year, and then everyone's like, oh gosh, if we had known that, why the hell did we stick with the veteran? Niners could be that team next year, folks. They could easily be that team next year, and it's just the fact that Lance didn't play the year before he was drafted, but one game for a school that isn't on everybody's television set. We don't know. Niners saw something in him and his skill set and said, we're going to use a whole bunch of draft capital on him, and then sat him. And the reason why they sat him isn't because he's no good. It's because they could do it. They could do it. Bears wanted to sit Justin Fields in the worst way. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Because Andy got hurt.
Right.
Andy Dalton, I mean.
So if Garoppolo got hurt significantly, they would have had to go to Lance for a longer period of time other than just 2 spot starts. True. You got to get lucky as well. Certainly when Garoppolo had trouble staying healthy the year before. What do you think? They wanted to throw big Nick Mullins out there? Maybe, just maybe, the Niners like Trey Lance. Is that hard for people to believe? Well, if he was any good, they would have thrown him out there because Jimmy G had trouble throwing here and he had trouble throwing there and his shoulder was hurt and he had his thumb problem. But he's also full on read into the whole playbook and the locker room and everything like that. They didn't have to do it. And if you don't have to do it, that's to your benefit, not to the detriment of your rookie. Now, the flip side of it is Garoppolo didn't win the Super Bowl and didn't look like the MVP of the league in doing it like Rodgers did the last 2 years, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, Jordan Love, see ya. You know?
Jimmy G was 9-6, 3,800 yards, 20 touchdowns. You think Lance does that next year?
Oh, yeah. And the 20 touchdowns, half of them might be on the ground. He'll have more touchdowns, more total touchdowns. Absolutely more total touchdowns next year.
Just 20 passing touchdowns, 20 passing touchdowns.
I understand that. And so...
He had 3 rushing, so 23 total.
I think Lance will account for more touchdowns than Jimmy G. How does that sound? And there will be
9 wins, though?
Growing pains.
NFC Championship game?
I don't know. I need to see what the rest of the team looks like. How does that sound? I'll use that as an out right now. But if you're penning me in and saying I have to choose right now because this is sports talk radio and that is the sort of world in which we traffic, I'll say yeah. I like Shanahan. I like that defense. I think the kid has got a light on, and I think he's got neck up, really, really smart, and something beats inside of him. You know? So maybe the Niners like Trey Lance and the amount of capital they gave up for him, they had to go ahead and make this move away from Jimmy G. It was going to happen. I was telling you, like, what if he wins the Super Bowl? I'm like, then they'll get more for him.
Right.
You can't use all that draft capital and say, unless the guy's looked so horrible in practice and is just, living La Vida Loca instead of putting his face in the playbook. And the kid who I interviewed the day before the Super Bowl that we played on our show, seek it out on youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show, did not strike me as an unprofessional. He struck me as somebody who's ready to rock. And had he been given the reps, he would be absolutely looking more ready to rock. And I think chafed at the sense that he's not ready to rock because he didn't get the opportunity. And he's ready to take it. So, yeah, that's my take in the news that the Niners were supposedly meeting with Deshaun Watson, which has been refuted by everybody else, is that maybe they just like Trey Lance. That's your headline. And I didn't say that in the higher register.
You did not.
Trey Lance, maybe he could be that guy. I think they believe he can be that guy. Otherwise, they wouldn't have traded all that to get up to him. You just don't believe it. That's okay. We'll see. That's a beautiful thing. We'll see. The defending world champs reside in that division. Kyler Murray, who will show up at some point, we assume, despite the Jerry Maguire-like manifesto his agent sent out, and the rebuilding Seattle Seahawks, who have not been mentioned in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, right? They haven't met with him. At least that hasn't been reported. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.